The morning sun had barely risen when something in Adrian Kessler's world shifted forever. The billionaire tech CEO, known for his cold logic, rigid rules, and relentless efficiency, stood frozen in the middle of a bustling corporate lobby as he watched his 8-year-old autistic daughter, Mira, crumble into a silent storm of panic. People shuffled past, whispering, staring, pretending not to see the trembling child covering her ears. But one woman didn't pretend, one woman didn't look away, and when Adrian Holt, an entry-level receptionist with weary eyes and a soft voice, knelt beside Mira and calmed her with a gentle touch and a small origami butterfly, Adrian saw something he had long forgotten still existed in the world: pure human kindness. And he also witnessed something he had never expected, the very same woman being fired moments later for abandoning her post. If you believe kindness and second chances matter in this world, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Soul of Light, because this story is about to remind you why compassion still changes lives. For a man like Adrian, the scene unfolded almost like a movie reel he couldn't stop. He had stepped into the lobby just in time to see his daughter hit sensory overload, the kind that always tore him apart, because for all his wealth and power, he still didn't know how to calm her. But Adrian did. She didn't hesitate. She simply slid across the polished floor, shielding Mira from the noise, whispering soft patterns until Mira's breathing found its slow rhythm again. Adrian's heart tightened, humbled and grateful. But then his gratitude turned into a stunned, painful anger when the building supervisor stormed out, barking about professionalism and protocol before ordering security to escort Adrian out. She stood speechless, confusion shaking her voice, but she didn't fight it. She simply whispered to Mira, "You're safe," and allowed herself to be led away. That image haunted Adrian through every step of the day, following him into board meetings, echoing through glass corridors, lingering with him long after he should have moved on. He couldn't shake the weight of it, the way someone who had done something so right had been punished so harshly. He had built an empire on logic, but what he had witnessed wasn't logic. It was cruelty disguised as procedure. And as he watched Mira holding tightly to the origami butterfly she refused to let go of, something inside him broke open, something he had locked away since his ex-wife left, unable to cope with the challenges of raising a neurodivergent child. That afternoon, instead of returning to his penthouse office, Adrian drove to the small, forgotten bus stop behind the building. He didn't know why intuition, perhaps, but there she was, Adrian, shoulders slumped, clutching a cardboard box with her few belongings. Her eyes were red, but she wore an expression of quiet resignation, like someone who had grown accustomed to life dealing sharp edges. Perhaps she had. She looked like a woman who had carried unseen battles, who had learned to keep moving even when doors closed in her face. He approached slowly, unsure of how to begin. He was a man who negotiated $1,000,000 deals before breakfast, yet this felt harder than anything he had ever done. So he simply told the truth. He thanked her. He apologized, and then he asked why she did what she did. Adrian hesitated, staring at the ground before answering. She explained how her younger brother had been autistic, how she had learned from childhood that compassion didn't require permission, only courage. She admitted she knew leaving her desk was against policy, but she also knew that sometimes the right thing wasn't the legal thing. Her voice cracked as she confessed she couldn't afford losing the job, but she would never regret helping a frightened child. Those words struck him straight through the walls he had built around himself. In her, he saw something he wished he could be, someone who moved from instinct, from heart, from humanity, and in that moment he made a decision so quickly it startled even him. The next day, Adrian was escorted not to the exit, but to the executive elevator. Employees watched in disbelief as she rode upward to the CO floor. Rumors flew like sparks, but no one knew the truth, not until Adrian introduced her as his new director of employee wellness, a position he created specifically because of her. He explained to the board that compassion was not a liability but a strength, and that employees needed leaders who understood humanity just as much as productivity. But the job was only part of the transformation that followed. Adrian became the bridge Adrian didn't know he needed. She helped him understand Mira's world, not with pity, but with insight. She taught him sensory tools, calming patterns, gentle routines. She helped him slow down, breathe, and meet his daughter where she was instead of where he wished she could be. And gradually, Adrian became less of a CEO in Mira's eyes and more of a father she could reach for. The three of them began sharing quiet afternoons in sunlit parks, where Mira learned to fold her own origami butterflies, gifting them shyly to Adrian. Adrian found himself laughing more, feeling more, noticing the softness he had forgotten he was capable of. The relationship between him and Adrian grew not out of drama, but out of shared care, two people learning each other the way one learns a song, slowly, beautifully, with intention. Yet the true turning point came months later during a chaotic fire drill that startled Mira into a full meltdown. Employees panicked, unsure of what to do, until Adrian stepped forward, guiding Mira through the storm like a lighthouse cutting through waves. And when Mira finally calmed, resting her head on Adrian's shoulder, Adrian realized something undeniable. The woman who had once been punished for her kindness had become the heart of their world. Near the end of that long day, with the sun melting into gold across the office windows, Adrian quietly told Adrian, "You saved my daughter the first day I met you, but somewhere along the way, you saved me too." If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soul of Light. Your support helps us bring more stories of hope and humanity into the world. And before this story ends, here is a special request. Comment the word light if you believe kindness can change a life. And so, beneath a warm daytime sky filled with soft, drifting clouds, their story continued, not as CEO and employee, not as rescuer and rescued, but as three souls learning to heal, grow, and shine together, proving that sometimes fate doesn't shout. It whispers through a single act of compassion.